Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Nico. And for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have a much smaller YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to have been a subscriber for at least 5 minutes. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices, and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. And as you can see on the thumbnail, the topic for tonight, hell, a Christian concept. Now, I'm going to make this disclaimer, okay? It's similar to the one I made last night, okay? When I am discussing Christian-related topics, I'm not trying to force anyone to embrace Christianity or embrace Christianity as I see fit. I'm just simply discussing a topic that I'm somewhat familiar with. Okay. And I understand there might be people who watch my content who are not Christian. So all I ask is for those of you who are not Christian, who actually listen to topics regarding Christian topics, that please have an open mind behind it. So, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, the first thing I'm going to be discussing is that when it comes to StreamYard, I see here they have made some changes um, when it comes to the streaming itself. Okay. First of all, there seem to be two ways to share screens and invite people to the panel. I'm still going to do it the regular way by placing the link in the chat. Also, another thing that's different is the layout. Okay, for those of you who are familiar with StreamYard, when you go into the section where it says media assets, it'll show you the various different short video clips that you may air when you do your lives or other content. And I see here they did it in a different format. So I'm just getting used to it. Why they did it, I'm sure there's some sort of rationale. I'm just used to doing things the old way, but you have to adapt. Mhm. Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about, that it has been quiet, at least quiet around my area of YouTube. Okay, I have been fortunate. I have not had to deal with any comments from the ops or any ish from the ops. Okay. Of course, we all know that things can heat up very quickly here on YouTube for whatever reason. Usually because of some ish or hurt or whatever, or something perceived wrong that we might have done, whether it be out of ignorance or what have you. So, my approach when it comes to dealing with my ops is not to discuss them, not to name them here, nor to engage with them, and to simply ignore them. Okay. Most of the ops are people that crave attention. So therefore, whenever you react to whatever they say or whatever they do, what you're doing is you're enabling these individuals to continue with their misdeeds. Okay. So I'm not going to enable them. Okay. I'm just going to simply stay in my lane and just try to be the best version of myself. Okay. Now, the final thing that I'm going to be discussing, because truthfully, most likely, I'm going to be on for about an hour, 90 minutes tops. Um, um, I will be going on my annual vacation soon. So basically, the first part is going to be a staycation, so to speak. So it'll give me a chance to relax, unwind, work more on my content, and maybe tweak it a little bit and do some different things. Of course, next month we are having in the Dominican Day Parade, which will be held on Sunday, August the 10th. And for the first time, my union will be marching in the parade. Okay, which is wonderful because it is a day for Dominicans to show their pride at who they are. Okay, I mean there are a great people, there are wonderful people, there are people who are very proud of their culture, of their heritage, and everything that makes Dominicans unique. So right now I'm just trying to start working on the stream regarding the myths regarding the single mothers. It will be done the week of the 21st. So this weekend, I'm going to see if any the content creators who are single moms, if they will hop on in a hop a panel, and so they can help me, discuss what are some of the myths when it comes to single mothers. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this is that I want to give a balanced representation regarding single mothers. Now, the problem is when it comes to that topic, usually you get two conflicting views. Okay. View number one is basically saying that you should never date a single mother because of the multiple issues beyond that are involved, including having to deal with the absent father. And then the other side of the extreme case side of the extreme is that people glorifying single motherhood. I am not here to glorify it, nor I'm here to condemn it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the myths. Okay, first of all, and share some information, how they become single mothers and how to properly deal with it. Okay, because some people have certain weird perceptions regarding single moms. Some of the things that just people to smash and keep it going. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, before we begin, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. So anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, that may do so. Um, However, let me make this perfectly clear. Or seen you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage. Then make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, which will cause people of YouTube to take down the stream. Okay. And excuse me. And once I properly vet you, um, it's up to you whether you wish to cam up or not cam up uh, or use your avatar. That I leave to your discussion. Okay. So what I'm going to do. Okay. Excuse me. Ugh, this setup is a little bit of a challenge. Okay. Now, when it comes to hell, I mean, there are, people have different understandings regarding it. Some people do not believe it exists. Some people believe it's only a metaphor. Um, I truly believe it does exist. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, hopefully. Okay. So hopefully the image will load up so I can discuss it. Okay. In some versions of Christian theology, hell is the place or state in which, by God's definitive judgment, unrepentant sinners pass in general judgment, or in some Christian belief, immediately after that, as a result of a person's choice to live a life intentionally separate from God's particular judgment. Its character is inferred by the teaching of, in the biblical text, some which interpret literally has given rise to the popular idea of hell. Some theologians see hell as the consequences of rejecting union with God. Now, actually, there are different words, and both in Hebrew and in Greek when it comes to hell. Okay, for for example, Sheol in the Hebrew Bible and Hades in the New Testament, multiple modern versions, such as the New International Version, translate Sheol as grave and simply literally translate Hades. It is generally agreed that both Sheol and Hades do not typically refer to a place of eternal punishment, but to the grave, the temporary abode of the dead, the underworld. Now, Gehenna in the New Testament is often described as a place where both soul and body could be destroyed. And the text here is Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. In unquestionable fire, Mark chapter 9, verse 43. The word is translated is either hell or hellfire in multiple English versions. Gehenna was a physical location outside the city walls of Jerusalem. Now, the Greek word, I don't know what that is. I think it's called tataro, derived from Tataris, which occurs once in the New Testament in 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. It is almost always translated by a phrase such as thrown down to hell. A few translations render it as Tataris. Of this term, following Christian Standard Bible states Tataris is a Greek name for a subterranean place of divine punishment lower than Hades. And here there are three different New Testament words that appear in most English translations as hell. Okay. Okay, so this is the Greek New Testament. So these are the different versions of the Bible where hell is referred to usually as Hades, hell, or death's kingdom. Okay, in the eschatological discourse of Matthew 25, verses 31 to 46, Jesus says, when the Son of Man comes to his glory, he will separate people from one to another as a shepherd separates sheep from the goats and was consigned to everlasting fire those who fail to aid the least of his brothers. This separation is a stock with no explicit provision made for fine gradations or merits of guilt. And here's the verse. Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, you did not invite me. And you did clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me. Whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. And that comes from Matthew chapter 25, verses 41 to 43 from the NIV version of the Bible. And there are similar concepts. The lake of fire and the abyss. And then there are different Christian inter- uh, and interpretations of hell. Uh, the Council of Trent taught in the fifth canon of its 14th session that damnation is eternal, the laws of eternal blessedness and the eternal damnation which has occurred. This teaching is based on Jesus' parable of the sheep and the goats. Depart from me, you who are cursed, into eternal fire, and these will go into eternal punishment. Now, also in the Catechism of the Catholic Church defines hell as a self-exclusion when having freely chosen consequences of final impotence, i.e., deliberately willingly refusing to repent of mortal sin at death and accept divine mercy. To die in mortal sin without repenting, accepting God's merciful love means remain separated from Him forever by your own free choice. The state of defined self-exclusion from communion with God and the blessed is called hell. Perfect contrition remits venial sin. It also obtains forgiveness of mortal sin if it includes a firm resolution to have a recourse to a sacramental confession as soon as possible. The prisoners of hell are impenitent such as Satan. Satan's fall from heaven is irrevocable because he chose not to repent. No one is predestined to commit sin or go to hell, as Catholic doctrine holds that after death, repentance is impossible. Now, as far this is what it said, it referred to heaven, hell as a place. The Baltimore Confession defined hell as using the word state alone. Hell is a state in which the wicked are condemned and in which they are deprived of the sight of God for all eternity and in dreadful torment. However, suffering is categorized as both mental and physical. The damned will suffer both in mind and body because both mind and body have a share of their sins. And I'm not going to get into all of that because it's just the teachings that the late Pope John Paul II has referred to it. Now, tradition in the past has been considered a place. Some have rejected this metaphor interpretation of the biblical descriptions of hell and have attributed hell as a location within earth, while others have upheld the belief that hell is a place where location is unknown. In a homily given on March 25th, 2007, Pope Benedict XVI said Jesus came to tell us that he wants us all in heaven and that hell, of which is little said at a time, exists and is eternal for those who close their hearts to his love. Richard Owen's interpretation of this remark as declaring hell as an actual place was reported as multiple media outlets. Good evening, Miss Mo. Thank you very much for stopping by, and thank you again for sharing my live stream. Okay, so just to let you know, the topic for tonight is hell, a Christian concept. Okay, so basically, I'm just describing what it is. Okay, and of course, I'm giving my own personal insight, so to speak. Now, in the Catechism of the Catholic Church states, Jesus often speaks of Gehenna, of unquenchable fire reserved for those who end their lives refuse to believe and be converted, where both soul and body can be lost. Jesus solemnly proclaimed that he will send his angels and they will gather all the evildoers and throw them into the furnace of fire, and that they will pronounce the condemnation. Depart from me, you cursed, into eternal fire. The teaching of the Church affirms the existence of hell and its eternity. Immediately after death, the souls of those who die in the state of mortal sin descend to hell, where they will suffer punishments of hell, eternal fire. The chief punishment in hell is eternal separation from God, in whom alone man can possess life and happiness, in which he was created and for which he longs for. And we're going to park it here. So, one thing I always make it perfectly clear that whenever I do discuss a topic, I do believe in giving clear definition of what is the topic about. Okay, because unfortunately we're living in a day and age when people talk about stuff that they absolutely know nothing about. Okay, so not here. If we're going to mention something, we're going to define it what it is. And again, for those of you who are not Christian, um, this might be a difficult um, topic to believe. Okay, I want to make it perfectly clear. Again, I'm not trying to force my views on anybody. I'm just simply sharing with you what is my understanding of what hell is. Okay, so now we're going to share another article. Like I said, I'm not going to be here that long. Um, just bear with me. Okay. Okay, so just bear with me. And unfortunately, I don't have the speediest computer in the world. Okay, so so now I'm gonna share my screen. And to be perfectly honest, many of the world religions have their version of what hell is, whether it be from the Quran, whether it be from the Torah, or any of the other uh, major religions, such as Buddhism, Hinduism, and so many other different faith systems. So it's another article called Learning from the Bible, hell? What a question mark. There is a tendency in our presentation of the gospel to stick with what makes people feel good. God loves you. God gave his life to you. He wants to be in relationship with you. Now, these are wholly true. However, the whole gospel, there's a part of the gospel that many people shy away from. I'm referring to the final judgment and hell. We would rather talk about God's love and grace and mercy, of course, and these are essential to the gospel message, but they're not sufficient. Something is missing. Now, one thing we as Christians, yes, we got to focus on God's love. Yes, we got to focus on God's mercy. Yes, we got to focus on God's forgiveness and how uh, God can transform your life and give your life meaning and purpose and things of interaction structure and that you have fellowship. We also have to discuss the fact that what are the consequences of spending an eternity without God, okay, which we refer to as hell. Okay. And of course, there are Christians that will basically focus their soul energy regarding hell and brimstones and things of that nature. Okay. But in all fairness, we are called to share the entire gospel, not parts of it. Okay. It is not enough to tell people they can be saved. We are commanded to tell them that they are saved, that what they are saved from. When you think about the subject of hell, it's a very serious subject. It's a very biblical subject, and I want to begin by John chapter 14, verses 2 to 3, and talk about the opposite side, which is heaven. Jesus said, "In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. If I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back and receive you to myself, and where I am is where you'll be." Heaven is also a prepared place for a prepared people. But did you know that hell is also a prepared place? In fact, Jesus taught in his own mouth in Matthew chapter 25, verse 41. Then he will say to those in his left, "Depart from me, accursed ones, into eternal fire, which is fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels." I want you to notice that hell is a prepared place, but not originally prepared for humans. The Bible said it was prepared for the devil and his angels. But you know what God says? Whoever chose to follow the devil will follow the devil right into hell. The Bible makes it clear that hell is a real place. It is a place to be avoided. We notice from Matthew 5, verse 30, Jesus warning people about coming into this place. Jesus says, "If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. Well, it's better for you to lose one of your hand parts of your body than your whole body to go into hell." Now, during last night's discussion regarding sin, Marcel talked about how you really cannot take a lot of the Bible literally. In all fairness, there's certain parts of the Bible you cannot take literally. Okay, here we are not called to chop out any part of our hands and pluck out our eyes. No, that is used as a metaphor to talk about that we should remove from our lives anything that will cause us to think, um, or act in a way that's contrary to God's will. Now, in Matthew 10, verse 28, Jesus says, "Do not fear those who can kill the body but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Hell is a place of destruction. It is a place where people are eternally being destroyed, and not only their bodies, but their souls are being destroyed eternally. Peter also wrote about how in 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 4 to 6, and saying, For God did not spare his angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to the pits of darkness, reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly. And if he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to destruction by reducing them to ashes, having made an example, you see what God is doing when he has destroyed the earth with water, and when he destroyed the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. He was telling people that this is an example of what not to do. What if your eternity being burned like Sodom and Gomorrah, being turned into ashes eternally forever and ever? So the next question, what is hell like? The first property is that it's very hot. Almost every time the Bible describes this, it describes it as a place of burning fire. Mark 9, verses 43 to 48. Hell is an unquestionable fire mentioned 3 times. In Matthew 25, verse 41, the Bible calls it eternal fire. Matthew 13, verse 42 calls it a furnace of fire. In Jude 7, it's called a punishment of eternal fire. In Revelation 20, verse 10, it's called a lake of fire and brimstone. Okay. The Bible says in Revelation 20, verse 12, and I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and books were opened, and that this, okay, it says 66 books of the Bible. John 12, verses 48 says, and another book was opened, in which was the book of life, and the dead were judged from the things which they were written in the books, according to their deeds. So God's telling people that the way that you can avoid this place is if God compares the book of life and the books of the Bible, and sees that you have obeyed the Bible, that you live the Bible. If we read in Revelation chapter 12, verse 13, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and the dead and Hades gave up the dead which were in them, and they will judge everyone according to their deeds. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. We need to be clear. We must do the works of righteousness, will be judged by those works. It is interesting to me that the books of the Bible were open to be the basis of judge. Revelation 20, verse 13 says, in the very last verse says, if anyone's name is not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. You see, hell is what will be eternal burning for all eternity. It is a very scary. In Matthew 13, verse 41, it says, the Son of Man will send forth his angels, and they will gather out his king all stumbling blocks and those who commit lawlessness, and will throw them into the furnace of fire. And notice here that a place will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. The word gnashing of teeth literally means to bite down. You heard stories back in the old times when they would do surgery on people that didn't have medicine that we have today. There was just filling with alcohol, but then they were still awake, and then they had to amputate a leg, something. They would put something in a piece of wood to bite down. That's the idea of the word gnashing of teeth. It is so painful, it is so hot, it is so scary that people be biting on so hard that there's nothing else to do. You can't relieve the pain, you can't take away the fear. Jesus also said in Luke 13, in the place that there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when you see Abraham forsaken and Isaac being forced successfully. Hell is horrifying for that reason because you say to yourselves you will be thrust out. Good evening, EG. Thank you very much for stopping by. Just as a reminder for those who are listening, the topic for tonight is hell, a Christian concept. So right now, I'm just basically giving some illustration regarding what that place is, and it's a place to avoid. Yes, you will definitely want to avoid hell. In fact, the Bible says it's a place where we will be scared, we'll be burning, and we'll be all alone. It's so hot, it's so horrifying. But next property of hell we know as we go through is people are absolutely helpless. Nobody can do anything to relieve the pain and the torment of anyone. In Matthew 18, verse 12, it's described as outer darkness. I'm going to look at Matthew 22, verse 13 with you just a moment. I really need you to take in how he will feel. Then the king said to the servants, bind him and foot and throw him into the outer darkness, in that place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. He is all alone. He is by himself in a dark place, in a hot place, in a scary place, and no one will help you. Our human nature is we have that thing with us to help each other. But in hell, no one would care. In Revelation chapter 14, verses 11, said the wicked will have no rest day or night. In Revelation 20, verse 10, says the devil who deceived them will cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, and the beast and the false prophets are. They will be tormented day and night forever and ever. It's hopeless, you're helpless, and horrifying, and it's hot. So now we're going to talk about the people who will be in hell. Okay, the first group of people are the angels of the devil and the devil himself. The Bible says in Matthew 25, verse 41, says, and then they'll say to you, those on your left hand, depart from me, you cursed, from everlasting fire, and the devil who are these angels. So the first people that we will see is the devil and his angels. We'll meet other people who are disobedient to God. The Bible teaches us that most people will be disobedient to God. Matthew chapter 7, verse 14. It is sad thing and a shame, but the Bible says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 9, they will pay the penalty of eternal destruction away from the presence of the Lord and from the glory of his power. I want you to ask yourself, do you see yourself there? Have you obeyed the gospel or you remain steadfast to the faith? The Bible says in Matthew 16, verses 15 and 16, go into the world and preach the gospel to all creation. He who believes and has been baptized shall be saved, but he who disbelieves shall be condemned. These are the words of Jesus. We do not want you to go there. We want you to be a part of being saved, the body of Christ. And then here, there are verses of scripture where you can avoid eternal separation. In Acts 22, verse 38 says, repent and be baptized, everyone, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. In Acts 2, verse 41, they gladly received his word and were baptized in the same day, and they were added unto about 3,000 souls. And in Acts 2, verse 47, they added to the church daily such were being saved. The way out of hell is through the door. It's not a man-made door, it's but a spiritual door. Jesus said, I am the door. In John chapter 10, verse 9, won't you knock? He's promised that everyone who knocks will be allowed to enter. Matthew 7, verse 7 said, will you please save this very hour? Will you please save this day? And we're going to stop. We're going to park it here. Okay, so, oh, I see okay, oh, I'm sorry. Let me just bring in my guest. Okay, good evening, G.
Hey Jose, how are you?
Bye, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I just came in. Actually, this is actually a great topic and very interesting yet terrifying.
Yeah, that is true because look, it's so terrifying that that Christians don't even like talking about it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. However, we have to share the whole story, not just half of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts that even preachers kind of just gloss over, in church.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of similar to my topic last night when I discussed about sin. Okay. Some people like to hear about the Jesus that saved, that God is love and everything, and that's true. God is love. However,
Hmm.
um, there's another part which is sin. It does exist, okay, and the wages of sin is death, which is spiritual.
Yeah, well, he made us in his image, and it also says that he is jealous and vengeful.
Yes.
So it's
So
not just all love and
yeah.
butterflies, right?
Well, unfortunately, you have certain individuals that what they like to portray, as I like to call it, the Walt Disney version of Christianity.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen some of the Christian channels too, they talk about that too, and they cover some of the parts that, especially with like the prosperity preaching and stuff where it's just kind of just about getting ahead and getting blessed, but not really getting like to the meat and potato of things.
Yeah, I have a huge problem with the prosperity gospel because I mean it's like it puts people in a difficult position. Okay, and people get a wrong idea of what is the gospel. I mean, Jesus did not came into the world so we could become millionaires. Okay,
Mm.
he came into the world that we could have a relationship with God and spend an eternity with God in heaven.
Yeah, I think he even said that it's harder for a rich man than like for like an elephant to pass through like the eye of a needle to get into heaven.
Well, I mean, what? Okay, what he was talking about, I believe, is that the problem is when you have a lot of wealth, that can easily become an idol,
Yeah,
and that you become more reliant on your money and not on God.
true. And you also have
Mhm.
access to a lot more sinful things,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can
I
harm
mean, think
people
about
when you have money.
yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, think about it. With wealth, there's also responsibility. Okay, and unfortunately, when people tend to come into wealth, they don't always spend it on productive things. They'll spend it on on luxury things, or they'll spend it on um, ladies of the evening, so to speak. Um,
Yeah,
or,
or men of the
or
evening. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
so
Because I think that to amass such wealth, I mean, I don't really see how you can kind of be really of God because, they say if like all the billionaires in the world, excuse me, contributed, like there wouldn't be even like world hunger. Like these problems could like literally be fixed, but they choose not to, right?
I mean, look, the problem is when you have unlimited wealth, the tendency is you want more of it. Okay, and it almost becomes like a drug, so to speak.
Yeah,
You can never get enough to to get a fix.
because after you get the money, then it just becomes like the thirst for more power because you already have all the money, but you want the power. You want more and more and more and more
Yeah.
power. Like Elon Musk, right? All that money, but he really wants the power, right?
Well, think about it. With all the money, because I think he's one. I think
Donald
he's like
Trump
the
too.
richest man in the world. If not, yeah. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, when you have all that money, you tend to think to yourself that that you are above everybody else, and that what everybody else thinks doesn't matter because basically you're the richest guy in the world. So who cares what other people think, and who cares how you get more money as long as you get more money?
And also, when you look at all of the people that are like in the top 1%, how many people did they step on and destroy to get to that position?
That's a very, you know what? That's a very good question
Hmm.
because the mission or the obsession to gain more wealth um, will lead you to do things which are unethical, all for the sake of the almighty dollar or the yen or the peso or the euro or whatever form of currency that you use.
And what was I going to say? They also say that there's like a glass ceiling, right? And so to bust through that and to get into these different spaces and get access to like these deals, you have to deal with a bunch of other nefarious people. And as we see, there's a lot of things that come with that and a lot of sacrifices these people make to get to that money.
Yeah, that is true.
Hmm.
That's why I never aspired to be rich. I
Yeah,
just want to make sure that I have enough to take care of what I need to take care of, and then you know maybe treat myself to a little vacationing once a year or what have you, or just have
just a comfortable, nice life. Yeah.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
Because like,
Because the
who needs
problem,
10 Lamborghinis or whatever? You know?
yeah, or 20,000 or 20,000 Mercedes Benz and what have you. Because what the problem is when you have all that wealth, you're going to collect a lot of fake people.
Yeah. And lose a
Mhm.
lot of real people. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Because look, I mean, I think a good example of it is, the story of A Christmas Carol, and the character of Ebenezer Scrooge. Okay, um, in the beginning, I mean, he was a person that he had some value. He has he has some somewhat of a moral compass. And then as time goes on, he started accumulating wealth, and then next thing you know it, his wealth became his idol, and it cost him his relationship with his fiance, and it became an obsession of him to gain wealth to the extent he didn't care how he did it. He just wanted more money.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that point. Like, I definitely feel like to get to the top, you definitely got to step on a lot of people on the way up, you know? And we see that in like so many different cases, whether it's entertainers or politicians, entrepreneurs, anybody. Like, even like when you think about Walmart or something, like billions and billions and billions of dollars, and then, paying people minimum wage with no benefits, you know?
Yeah. Or Jeff Bezos, who is the owner of Amazon. I mean, he's like a billionaire, like I don't know how many times over, and how Amazon has been, treat their workers like crap, and what have you, crazy, insane work conditions and things of that nature, and
Hmm.
how he has fought to, to try to keep um, his employees from being unionized.
Yep.
So.
Because once that union comes in, you're gonna have to come up off of some more money.
Oh yes, and of course we all many people know I belong to a union. I've been a union man for over 25 years.
Hmm. Yeah, we
But
don't have that type of stuff in Florida. Nope. They have
well,
what is it called?
it's a right to work. I think it's called right to work state.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but it basically means that they can fire you for any reason at any time. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Of course, New York is a little different. I mean, it's okay. I would say it's one of the last few bastions of environment where the unions are still relatively strong.
Hmm.
So.
There's like a couple of companies down here that do have unions, but I think they're like government type. Because there's like a place around here. What is it? I don't remember the name of the place, but they make like the materials and stuff that goes into like military like equipment and stuff like that. It's like considered like a government kind of, and they have a union
Um,
there.
Yeah, you know what? It could be. Of course, I don't want to delve too much into it because
Lockheed Martin, that's what it's called. Lockheed Martin.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, because it's just that I don't want to like go straight too much. But but going getting back. I mean, look, when you treat wealth as your idol, I mean, all you're gonna do is do everything possible to get it, and you're not going to care either way, and and basically you become obsessed with accumulating more wealth.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't really
You
think it's possible that you could just have all of this money. Like, let's say you're just like, driving your Lamborghini or whatever the car is that everybody wants, and, down the street and you're, buying $100,000 purses and you're passing all the homeless people on the street, something doesn't sit right in that situation to me.
yeah, I mean, look, and and
I could never probably be
one
rich.
of
I'd probably give a lot of it away.
yeah, and and Jesus talked about you know the righteous people, and he said to them, when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was sick, you gave me drink. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was sick or in prison, you visited me. So whenever you do the least of his people, you do unto him. Um,
Hmm. They say
because
angels come
really,
to
I
you and
mean,
test you as
Christianity.
well.
I
Have you
mean,
ever
when you
heard
think
that? That
about it,
angels come to you and test you?
yeah,
Like somebody could come and ask
yeah,
you for
I've heard
something
of
and
it.
you turn them away.
So when
Hmm.
you think about, yeah, but you know what the problem is? Not everyone is all that alert to realize it. But unfortunately, sin exists in this world because basically, as long as people have free will, people are going to do what they want. Some people, and those people with a moral compass that's somewhat functional, they will try to be good. And then those who do not have a moral compass, they don't care. They'll do whatever they want. They don't care about the consequences. They don't care if people get hurt or things of that nature. It's just unfortunate we live in a time and age when a lot of people choose to do bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. People become lovers of
Yeah.
themselves. And then what does it say? Yeah. Cruel, heartless, lacking empathy. And when we were talking about like even the prosperity preachers or even these mega preachers that have millions and millions of dollars and private jets and stuff like that. And it's like these are the characters that it always comes out that they have these scandals that either they're, you know, hurting people in the church, or maybe they're sleeping with a bunch of women, or maybe they're secretly homosexual, or maybe there's some essay. There's like always something going on, you know, in these type of situations. What do you think about how people say that if you, I think it does say it, I'm not sure, but like if you are, like if you do evil in God's name, that you're going to have even a worse punishment?
I mean, yes, you know what the Bible talks about, that if you know right from wrong, and then you actually choose to do evil, the punishment is going to be worse. I mean, you're going to be punished no matter what. The difference
Mm-hmm.
is if you know what you're doing is wrong and you do it anyway, the punishment is going to be
Mm-hmm.
extra worse. Okay, and the final result is eternal separation from God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But of course,
But
people
you're
don't
doing a
believe
good
in God.
job, Jose. You're up here getting your little preacher on. You're doing a good job.
I'm just look. I'm just trying to share different topics, okay? And this week I decided, just something talk about something that people don't like to talk about. That makes me
Mm-hmm.
unique. That makes me uncommon.
Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to Jose's channel if you already have not
I
done
appreciate
so.
it.
Hmm.
Yes, and of course, I will ask that people please subscribe to Golden Goddesses channel as well.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate you.
if you don't mind me, yeah, sure. If you don't mind me asking, how's streaming doing?
She's doing well. I just talked to her today. We had a good conversation. She's doing good.
Okay.
Hmm.
The next time you
She
speak to her,
she's
please
gonna go
relay my
live
love.
pretty soon. But you're always asleep when she goes live. It's past your
Yes,
bedtime, Jose.
it's okay. You know what? Unfortunately, I'm at that stage of life that for me to stay up late, I have to like basically take a nap before I can think
You
I
got
can
a
fall
game.
asleep.
You got a pregame. You got a prep.
But you know something? The fact that I am in my 60s, that's a blessing.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Because unfortunately, I have siblings that didn't live to be their 60. Okay, I had a brother that passed away at 37. A second brother passed away at 49. A third brother that passed away at 56. And I'm going to be 63 in 3 months.
That's another thing that is like being lost from the world, is that respect for older people. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
society had more so in the past, but now they've lost that, along with a lot of other family values. But that's one thing, you know.
yeah, I noticed that too. That sometimes, okay, like for example, they'll see me walking with a cane, and they'll be like, "You don't see me?" It's like, and then sometimes I mean, they'll like almost push me in a way. And it's like you see that I'm walking with a cane. It's because I am recovering. Okay, the fact because I have a mobility issue.
How
But
is
some
your
people
leg
don't
doing
care.
and stuff now?
I'm fine, fine,
Hmm.
fine. In fact,
Okay.
um, Eventually, I'm gonna try to get off the cane, so to speak. It's just that it's been. I mean, my cane has been my shadow.
Hmm.
I
It's your
mean, I
safety
mean,
blanket.
yeah, you can say that,
Hmm.
but you know something.
But it's rough in New York. It's a lot of walking. I noticed that when I visited New York, I was like, it is so much walking. And I noticed that I didn't see like a bunch of overweight people as much as I have, like I do in other states, as in New York. I think it's because you guys walk everywhere.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and actually, you're not going to believe this, but last year we have the African Day per African American Day Parade here in New York, and I actually marched the entire length of the parade, and this was like 3 months after surgery.
What?
Yes.
I know you was hurt when you got home.
I
How long did it take you
mean,
to
it was like
recover, Jose?
it took me. You know what? It took me a while, and people said, but you know what? I just wanted look. I wanted to make a point. Okay, which is
Hmm.
if I can hobble along and walk on a parade with basically two reconstructed knees, because that's what I have. What's your excuse not to walk?
Hmm.
Really? What? I mean, and you know what it is? I think at
Was
times
it like a
we
goal?
I mean, some of us has gotten kind of lazy when you think about it. I mean, we just want to, get transportation to go like a couple of blocks, whenever. You can just as easily walk. I mean, look, there are times I will walk from my apartment building to the subway, which is a good like a good 15-minute walk, because let's face it, I'm not exactly the fastest person in the world, but I do it anyway, and I just learned how to pace myself. That's all.
I live in a place where people drive to their mailboxes, so I definitely get what you're saying.
And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I have used my cane to get to see the subway.
To get what?
I see it on the subway.
Hmm.
Okay,
Are you
but you
still
know
going
what?
on the
One,
subway? It's dangerous.
ah, it's not as often as I do it, but I mean, but I do have a share um, card service that I use to get from point A to point B. Um,
It's more safer now, though, right? I've heard that they've took a lot of more measures. Is it more safer now, or you don't think so?
uh, you know what? It's safer, but still, you gotta be mindful of
Still
your
dangerous.
surroundings. Because
Hmm.
yeah, because a lot of weird things can happen. And speaking about weird things, I remember like about um, 2.5 years ago, um, around Christmas time, I was on the platform, and there was a man walking butt naked when it's 20 degrees outside. Okay,
Hmm.
why? I don't know. Maybe the guy was off his meds, or maybe the guy took the wrong drug. I don't know. But
Yeah.
then he decided to lie down on the track.
Oh.
Then the person had the brain idea to climb over the railing and hang from the railing. Now, it's a good, I don't know, I think it's a good um, maybe 100 feet up.
Wow.
So basically, what I did was I called 911, because first of all, I don't know what was his mental state. Okay, I don't know whether the person was just being mental, or if the person was trying to self delete.
Hmm. Probably was on drugs too.
Yeah, that too. I mean, look, let's face it. Why would you be walking butt naked in the middle of winter in New
Why
York?
would you be walking butt naked in any season?
I know, but particularly, okay, particularly,
I know, I know.
yeah, yeah. Well, look, I mean, you we deal with all types of people in New York. I mean, we have the insane, the crazy, the irrational, um, and some
Jose, I want
people.
to ask you a question. Sorry, it's
Sure.
off topic, but I'm curious.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So, okay, so the guy that there's this big uproar for there over there, he's the one who's running for the mayor, right? The Muslim guy or whatever. Did you vote for him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I see a lot of content about that whole situation. I was just curious. He
Well,
won?
actually,
Or
we have what's called rank. Okay, well, we had what's called ranked choice voting in the primary,
hmm
which is basically what it is. Uh, you can vote who is your number one choice, the number two choice, the number third choice, and then the number fourth, the number five, what have you. And basically,
okay.
when they do the voting, whoever finishes in the fifth gets eliminated, and then whoever finishes in the fourth. And basically, what it is, it continues the process until a person gets at least 50%. It's a little
So
bit
where y'all at
complicated.
now?
I think he won the primary.
Okay.
Um, okay, now of course we have a couple other people. Andrew Cuomo is running as an independent. Also, Eric Adams is running as an independent. Okay. Um, I know there are people that like Andrew Cuomo. I don't care. I mean, I don't care about. I don't care about him. I don't like him too much.
hmm
Mainly because of this, the controversy regarding how he handled um, the elderly during COVID-19. Plus, you have the
hmm
allegations of sexual harassment.
hmm
So, and when it comes to Eric Adams, my issue with him is if you're going to run for for political office, you need to make yourself available to ask relevant questions. Because
What do
how
you mean?
so?
Because I heard that he
Okay,
stood up
because
against some things that weren't right, and then of course they're trying to get throw him out of there or whatever.
um, that's what some people say. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to get too much into it. Um, I know there's going to be several different candidates. You have the Republican candidate. You have this Muslim guy. You also have other people running as independent or third party candidates. So I'll just have to play it by ear and vote who I think is going to be most likely going to succeed. That's how I base everything. I don't base it purely on party affiliation. I basically take a look. Okay, what you wanted to achieve. Okay, and what's the most likelihood that you are going to achieve. That's how I base my voting.
Sometimes I feel like New Yorkers don't understand just how important their voting really is because
No,
of
no,
the
they
city that
don't.
you're in. You know.
No, they don't. Particularly when it comes to like the local elections on the local level, like for mayor, the controller, and the public advocate, and also like members of the city council. Our votes are very important. When it comes to things like the presidential elections, it is not that important because basically um, it is the electoral college that decides who gets elected. And being that New York is a blue state, I mean,
Yeah.
most likely it's going to vote for the Democratic candidate, regardless, as long as the person is not a complete psychopath.
Yeah, but it's just ultimately like the most important city in America, so it is a pretty big, thing. All the
Yeah.
business and stuff that runs through there, like it like affects the world really when you think about it.
Well, I'm sure some of the cities in your state may think otherwise, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando. I mean, I'm
Florida,
sure
yeah,
them.
Floridians don't have a great opinion. I mean, if I'm gonna be frank with you, they think that you guys like the abuse and you don't learn your lesson over and over and over again. But it's all subjective.
Well, okay, but the fact of the matter is, we're all different in our own unique way. Um, but yeah, I mean,
And even with us, like with Ron DeSantis, it's like he has done good things, but he's also done bonehead things too. So there really, I don't feel like there's any candidate that, you know, any person could 100% agree with everything.
yeah, it's true. I mean, look, one thing people need to understand is that when we're talking about like the city chief executive or the state chief executive or the chief executive of the nation, we're not looking for someone that's going to be pastor chief. We're looking for someone to be commander in chief or someone that's going to be an effective chief executive.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, I
So
don't
of
think we'll be
course,
finding any pastors in any of
nah,
the politicians because right now, from what I've seen from different content, it seems like everybody's on the hot seat right now, Dems and Republicans, and I think that people on both sides are realizing that, especially with the whole controversy surrounding the whole Epstein situation right now.
yeah,
Because I've seen even the Democrats saying like, I don't see, the Democrats really ain't calling stuff out too because people are realizing that they have things to hide as well.
yeah. I mean,
So
look,
yeah,
and
if only
yeah,
we could
and
get rid of all of them and start over.
easier said than done. And now Elon Musk talking about wanting to form a new political party.
He's gonna he's
Uh,
gonna he's gonna FAFO pretty soon and get deported, huh? He's gonna find himself
well,
a one-way ticket out of here. He keeps on. He's gonna FAFO soon.
I'm sorry, but he's been doing too much ever since um, Doge was created and what have you, and we can talk to doomsday regarding all the shenanigans that gone down, but it's
Yeah,
a
it's a
hot
lot going
mess.
on with that situation. It is a hot mess. But I do think that, like, of course, when you're on the world stage, I mean, we see that even just being content creators, like, people are looking at everything to criticize you for. I don't think, I feel like people just brush past the fact that he is autistic. Some of the weird stuff that he does, it has to do with the fact that he's autistic. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm not a trained therapist, but I know that something's going on with the man. That's for sure.
And
I
he's
mean, when
definitely
you
on
think,
medication, which most autistic people are, you know?
and sometimes medication can have side effects
Hmm.
um, that
Have you looking
that
weird, making
can.
weird face. Because I'll see them like making videos of him like making weird facial expressions or different things, and it's like you can tell that he's like his medicine is, you know what I mean? But I guess people know that if you know autistic people in real life, basically.
Yeah. I mean, look, I remember when I was recovering from knee replacement surgery. The first time, believe it or not, they were actually had me on oxycodone and morphine combined.
Mm, yeah,
And that was a miracle I didn't get addicted to the stuff.
yeah. You was feeling good, huh?
Well, let's just say I had to find some sort of relief because, boy, um, I think it is the closest thing that a man can experience pain compared to a woman going through a C-section.
Mm,
Now, I'm not going to say it's the same thing, obviously, because, but I mean, I think it's one of the most painful things that a woman can go through.
yeah. Sorry, I'm peeping around, Jose, because the damn raccoon done came out. That's the thing about Florida is the wildlife is wild here.
Well, here in New York, we see squirrels running all over the place.
Yeah, we have squirrels here too. I'm scared of squirrels too, even though they're little and they seem to be harmless. But I've seen a lot of videos of them attacking people, and it don't look pretty.
Yeah, but you know what? I generally don't. I avoid them because some of them might have rabies, or you don't know what type of germs that they have.
Yeah, I'm scared of all. I'm pretty much scared of all animals at this point. I don't know what the hell's wrong. I'm scared of everything at this point.
Well,
But
maybe you had a nightmare about a squirrel chasing you, or you had a bad confrontation
no,
with a
I
squirrel.
saw
I
one of
mean,
those videos. I saw one of them videos of a squirrel jumping on somebody's face, attacking their face, and I've never been the same since.
oh my goodness! But
But yeah,
yeah, but wasn't there a story about Jimmy Carter being attacked by a rabbit or had a bad experience with a rabbit? I don't know.
I don't know, but I watch a lot of those videos, like even like the gator videos and stuff like that. It's wild. I saw this video where they said that they were talking about the gators have evolved. There's two alligators, and they went up to somebody's doorstep. The alligator was up on his hind feet, ringing the doorbell. It was the wildest thing I ever seen before, and I'm like, everybody's in the comments like, are they watching people and learning? Like, hey, if I push this button, then food comes out. I don't know, but it was weird.
Yeah, that well, not only weird, that would be scary. I mean, when you think about it.
It was crazy, and it was not AI. And also, I never knew that they could jump like that until I saw also online that I saw them jumping fences. I was like, wow. And I lived in Florida my whole life, and I've swam with gators and everything. I've definitely came across gators. I didn't know they could jump like that.
Okay. But I have to admit, I do enjoy when you cover the exoticals.
Do you?
Yeah. Actually, and
They
I
said,
have a
yeah.
name. Actually, I have a name for that segment. They like to call themselves the pretty girl club. I call them the pretty dumb club.
Yeah, and whenever I start to, because I ultimately do have a heart. When I do start to feel a little bit bad about the trolling or whatever, and then I'm reminded by looking at all of their content how they're pretty much exploiting. They're doing the same thing. They're exploiting black women and making fun of them. So it's like, if anybody deserves it, it's them.
Yeah, and
And not only that,
yeah,
Jose, I think it's
mhm.
really shameful that if I don't know if you've seen in your algorithm some of the videos from some of them, they're literally like teaching these young women, some of them mentally challenged, that like there's only one way to be beautiful. These young girls are bleaching themselves. It's sick.
Yeah, it is because look, I mean, look, and this is the thing, and what some of these, I'm going to use the term loosely, ladies, don't understand that beauty is temporarily. Okay. Now, if you take proper care of yourself and you don't put a whole bunch of weird chemicals in your face and what have you, you can look youthful um, going into your 50s and 60s and even your 70s if you take proper care of yourself. But when you put all that stuff on your face and then you put Botox and then you have your nose done, your face done, your cheek done, you have your BBLs, and you have your butt done. I mean, after a while, you become hideous looking.
Yeah, it's better just to age gracefully because I don't agree with the fact that you get older and you're no longer beautiful. I see old ladies that are still beautiful. It's just a different type of beauty as you evolve. You know what I mean? You're not going to have the same beauty you had when you were 21, when you're 50, but it doesn't mean that you're automatically ugly either. It's just a different. The problem is that they're not necessarily chasing like beauty, they're chasing youth, and you can never get that back. You can never with time will always catch up to you you know
Yeah, yeah.
and
Good
like you said,
evening,
a lot
Don
of
Mama.
them, hey Don, and a lot of them
Second.
also that they don't even realize that they're aging themselves by putting all that stuff in their face. Like, okay, you don't have any wrinkles but you still look weird and it makes you look old because we can tell that you have like fillers and stuff in your face, so it really didn't help you look younger. You just look like you got fillers and both. You
Yeah,
still look
I
like an
mean,
older
look,
lady, you know, or an older man, because men do it too.
yeah, of course. And my mother, I mean, God rest her soul. I mean, even in her 80s, she looked considerably younger. But then again, my mother had the good sense not to put a whole bunch of weird chemicals on her face or put Botox and what have you, or get a BBL and what have you.
Yeah, and the environment as far as like the food and different stuff was more healthy back then too. Like we're getting poisoned from so many different areas now that it wasn't like that before. Like the food, the air, the everything.
Yeah. And look, and the message that they're teaching, that if they don't ascribe to a particular concept of beauty, they don't have worth, and that basically, in order to achieve whatever they want to achieve, they have to look youthful. And I'm sorry, but to me, that trivializes women. And there've been a lot of great women that have done a lot of things throughout history. And people like to talk about, well, women cannot be leaders. I mean, then okay, then explain to me Margaret Thatcher of the UK, or Golda Meir of Israel, or Indira Gandhi of India, or Angela Merkel of Germany, or Corso Aquino of the Philippines. These are women that
Queen
actually led
Elizabeth.
nations.
Yeah.
That example.
So the thing is that it's so much focused on beauty where it's like that's the only thing that matters, but in reality beauty is very important because it does open doors, but it's not going to keep you in it. It'll open a door for you, but it's not going to keep you inside the building, right? You got to have the brains. You know how many beautiful women are chewed up and spit out every day in bad situations because they didn't have the brains to um, help them, like get
Yeah,
ahead. So, and the more beautiful you are, the more that people will prey on you. So you have to be smart. You know, they don't put any emphasis on being smart. It's just all about beauty. But whatever, that's their content. I don't care
yeah,
about that. The only thing that bothers me really is the pretending to be mixed or light skin when you're not, and spewing rhetoric against groups of people while pretending to be us, and influencing um, young women to bleach their skin. That's just sick to me.
yeah. I mean, has anybody actually thought about the damage they're creating on their skin by putting all that chemical on it?
I don't know, but it's
I
just
mean,
totally irresponsible. And EU is in her 30s. She knows better.
well,
She
okay,
should know better. But at this point, I think
okay,
she has to be mentally ill as well, right?
okay. Well, that's
You're either mentally
um,
ill or you're just evil for money. It's one of the two.
well, maybe you're both.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, look, I look. I
Because
don't
even if
refer
she's
to the collective.
Even if
I'm
she's
sorry, go
skin
ahead.
bleached, Jose, she should have just, in my opinion, even if you do, okay, if she's skin bleached, that's her prerogative, it's her body, right? But the responsible thing would not be to co-sign that to your audience, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I refer to them as the pretty dumb club. God, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you base everything on a particular asset, exterior, exterior beauty and what have you, and subscribe to a particular type of beauty, and then basically, if you don't subscribe to it, basically you are a failure. I mean, and it trivializes women the heck, the heck. I mean, women. I mean, there's
Do you
not too
watch
many
any of their
things
channels?
I used to, but after a
Like, I was gonna
while,
see if you
it's
got any recommendations because there's this new one on there. I'm not gonna say her name because I'm not really positive that she's actually. She might be a little slow, so I'm not sure. But there's this like another one too, and she's up there, and she's clearly, you know, a brown skinned person, and she's up there like, I'm a light skinned mulatto, and it's just like the mental illness on display is just wild to me.
you know what it is. I think that some people latch on to certain terms and adopt to certain terms, but yet they really don't have a full understanding the meaning behind the terms. Okay, uh, or
Well, judging by
whatever.
her name, she got exotical in it and she got mulatto in it. So I'm like, okay, so you're listening to those two creators is not a good fucking mix if you're mentally ill, right?
I mean, look. I mean, if you want to go through life addressing yourself to whoever you are, okay, fine. If you want to go through life thinking that you're Mickey Mouse, that's great. Okay, just don't try to um, force people to accept your dogma.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I will say though. Like, I do, I have my own personal code of ethics, and if I see that you are mentally ill or mentally challenged to that degree, like, I'm not gonna troll you. I'm not gonna make content on you. You know what I mean? But EU has her faculties. She can take it. But there's some of these girls in this group. It's just like you can tell that you know the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. You know, so I just
Well,
leave
I
them
have
be.
okay. Well, I have never had the opportunity to interact with her. I mean, other than when I was on her Discord page, whatever. Um,
You
I
were in the
mean,
Exoticals Discord, Jose.
I was actually in her Discord one time. Yes, and I got kicked out. Okay. You know what? I got kicked
Wow,
out
I'm
of both
surprised they
groups
let
because
you
like
in.
maybe because I was the token dot. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe you did say something about that in the past that you was in there. I don't remember, but that's funny to me. So why did you get kicked out? Because you're my friend, or what happened, or because you're a man, or what?
I think that has something to do with it.
Both.
And and you know what, and this is the thing. This is I think where I get the most amount of grief is the people that I hang with, because you know the saying: if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you.
Yeah. But I mean,
Okay.
but the thing about it though is it's not just necessarily because you're cool with us, because there's so much division in the whole space. Whether you were cool with us or not, if you were cool with another group, if you were over there with the mulattoes, or if you were over there with the exoticals, then you would have other groups of people that didn't like you. So regardless of like what group you're hanging out with, you're gonna have haters because there's people all around on all sides that hate different people on different sides, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah, you know what? And this is yeah. Irby, if you want to hit the link, it's been pinned. Okay, unless your Obama form does not allow you to do that. But that's neither here nor there. But but look, I mean, people. have an issue simply because you're cool with certain group of people. And my thing is, if you really that triggered with people that I associate with, you're the one with the issue, not me.
Well, how many years you been doing this, Jose? How many years I've known you
Actually,
already?
believe me, okay, I think it's been about 3, and I've been a content creator for about 4.
Okay, so it's been about 3 years already. Let me see. All of these people have turned on you. It's funny though, the people that you actually chose to be friends with or to, hang around with on YouTube, none of us have backstabbed you ever. You notice that? So it goes to show in your elder age that you have pretty good discernment. Okay?
Yes,
Because I
believe
haven't heard
me.
about any of your friends backstabbing you out here.
No,
So, but I have heard of all them other people dragging you. They didn't care that you
believe
were
me.
an older guy or whatever. They just respected you with no regard.
Oh, believe me, I've heard. I have to laugh at some of the stuff that people have said about me. And you know what? If that makes you, whatever, if it helps you go to bed at night, whatever, say whatever you like about me. I'm still going to be the best version of myself. Okay, and you see, I've managed to, grow my content without going negative.
Hmm. Yeah, like my channel's doing extremely well for the amount of subscribers that I have. I've been getting great views for like pretty consistently for a while. So I don't need to talk about none of them people. I refuse to talk about any of those people really on my channel at this point. It's just not worth it to me. You know, sometimes,
I mean,
I've said that many times over the years, Jose, but I really am sticking to it. Like, I really don't want nothing to do with the psychos on this side of YouTube, you know?
look, I deal with enough weirdos in real life. The last thing I need to do is to deal with the psycho weirdos here on this platform. I mean, I mean, really. And look, and I'm at the age where I'm trying to have some sort of semblance of a peace, okay? Because look, I'm going to retire in about 2 years, and I'm going to go into the golden years, okay? So, do you think I want to actively seek drama, even though drama manages to find me no matter what?
Well, I will tell you that, like, as far as my situation, now, of course, there is some people that talk about me every other live stream here or there, but like nothing too major. It's really only that person in Canada that still harasses me, you know? So, and that says a lot because it's been some pretty fucking weird, nefarious characters on here, and yet he's still, it's like, dude, so just complete ignorance in that direction as far as I'm concerned. Like, he is in the box of the worst as far as I'm concerned. He is just as bad as the people that he talks about. He is the same.
Okay. Well, I don't have an issue regarding that individual.
Yeah, he's not
I notice
harassing you
sometimes.
currently anyway.
I mean, sometimes he'll tag me regarding some of the same old, same old. I mean,
I don't
I mean,
care
whatever
anymore, to be
gets.
honest. Let him do what he wants. He wants to put pictures of me up with an old filter and all this dumb shit. I just made a short on my channel. You know, just because I don't come here on camera all the time and put my face all over, like, it's because I'm not seeking validation on YouTube. I don't need to. But like, if I want to pop out every now and again, I'll pop out. I don't have anything to hide. I'm not an ugly person, no matter how much he wants to, try to give that. If any guy comes to my channel, he starts tagging them and trying to, like, it's weird shit. Like, you're never going to be able to influence how other people view me. Just give it up and move on with your life. Okay. That's the only advice
But
I can
you,
give that person over there. Move on with your life. I'm not in the
but
mulatto sphere. I'm over here in my own lane. I'm not your business. Mind your fucking business.
But
And
you
that's
know
all I'm going to
something?
say. And I'm going to leave it there.
But you know what's insanity is like doing the same thing 100 times and expecting a
Over and
different result.
over.
I mean, look, and
It's like
look,
the
and
little
I,
engine that could, you know,
or in this case, the little engine that
but he never
couldn't.
makes it up the hill.
Yeah, but you know, but this is the thing. I think now this is going to sound weird, okay? But I think some of these ops are basically secret fans that just didn't know how to approach you or talk to you or what have you. So, and of course, they love to
No, because I
create.
was initially pissed, Jose, when he put this stupid ass picture of me with this filter and this dumb shit and tagging and harassing this guy who I don't even know. It was pissed me off. And I went right to my Discord and I went right to the messages and I screenshotted all the messages. So if he really wants to talk about it, then we could all talk about how he sweated me in all of these messages and flirted with me. And maybe that makes a lot more sense of why he won't leave me alone. Right?
Well, you know what it is. You have some of these individuals. They are obsessed about getting the box, and they get
Well, if
and
you have a
sometimes
girlfriend, why are you obsessed with other women?
um, we're talking about people that constantly rehashing arguments that happened 3 years ago, and we expecting logic from them.
No. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, I'm talking about it with you now, but really, honestly, moving forward, I really don't have anything to say about that sector of YouTube. You know what I mean?
You know that I will look. I refer to the collective as the suckers because they act like a bunch of clowns. Okay, but
Hmm.
I'm not going to. I don't discuss them. I don't mention them by name because basically that's what they want. They want. And of course, people are going to go into X and they're going to activate their the Twitter fingers, and they're going to do their narratives and what have you. Of course, the last narrative was that I was a disappointment to my dead mother. Really? So now you know more about my family than I know about my own family.
Well, the good news is that your channel is moving forward. You're getting close to that 1K, Jose. You're
Yeah,
almost there.
I'm getting there,
So,
and then plus, yeah, and plus, I don't have to tear people down to get there.
yeah, no, slow and steady, like wins the race, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Take your time. You take your time and do things the right way, or at least what's right for you, because everybody has different ideas of what's right for them. You know, unfortunately, some people can't accept or understand that everybody has different ways to reach their goals. You know, different paths. I think the other day, like Miss Elite, she was talking about that on her stream about like, we all don't necessarily probably agree with everything and each other's content all the time, constantly, but who cares? It's their channel, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look,
All
let
you
me
can
tell you
do,
something.
you can make your content and you can criticize their content because that's what YouTubers do, but to literally harass and it's just too much, it's too much.
Yeah, but you know something. I don't even believe even giving assessment of other people's content because basically, this is the way I see it. Everyone has a right to do whatever the fluff they want with their channels. So,
Yeah, but you don't
who
you don't
am
have a
I?
reactor channel. Some people have reactor channels. Like I'm in a
I
reactor
know, you know
channel.
what,
Yeah.
and you know what, and this is the thing. I can make this a reaction channel, but why? I mean, I'm going to be true to myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to say that would insinuate that somebody who has a reactor channel isn't being true to themselves. It's just not what you want for your channel, you know?
No, no, I don't believe me. There's like
Obviously, I like
there's what
reactor channels. That's why I have one. You know what I mean? I watch other reactor channels.
I
But
mean,
there's
look,
also a way to react without being cruel to people, you know?
Yeah. And those few times when I did, I did give a reaction, sometimes some of the people couldn't take the observations and then decided to devote whole strings about me. And it's like,
Yeah, it's
you,
better
I
you
mean,
just stay out that realm, Jose, because it's not worth it.
really, if you're going to take mild criticism and actually devote actual lives about me, uh it just tells me that you need help.
Yeah, Jose, you're harmless. You don't bother nobody. So, but at the end of the day, like, like you said, you got to have thick skin. And if you come on YouTube and you want to be a YouTuber, that's what you got to deal with. Christian channels have haters. There's nobody that is above reproach on YouTube. Every single content creator has somebody that has made negative content about them, period. And if you haven't, then that means you haven't got to that level yet, but you will.
Yeah,
You
look,
will.
let me tell you something. And I tell people all the time, if you do not have, if you have thin skin, you have no business as a content creator because sooner or later you're going to get haters, and then people are going to say everything about you other than you being a child of God, and they're going to paint whatever narratives that they're going to paint about you. So, just be prepared for the haters. Just be prepared for people are going to paint their narratives and what have you. And it's just that
I don't like
people
this new
do.
StreamYard layout. I don't even know how to see the chat. Is Irby still here? Who's in the chat?
Yeah, you know what? I was just commenting about it. I'm not too crazy about the layout either.
I guess I haven't learned it yet, but like I don't even know where the
It's a,
button is to
you
look at
know
the
what?
chat.
It's kind of like this is the way. This is the analogy. This may not be the best analogy, but this is the only one I can think of. It's kind of like if you've been driving with a stick shift and then next thing you know, they drive with automatic, or like when you're driving and instead of using like an actual manual key, you have like an electronic key. That's the analogy that I use.
Yeah, pretty much when I'm not on live, I need to just like sign in and get in there and just see what these, see how to do things because I don't even know how to look at the chat. Oh, wait, hold on, maybe
Yeah,
comments.
and
Oh, here we go. Hey, Irby. Hey, Don.
yeah,
Found y'all.
I mean, and let's keep it clear. I'm not exactly the most tech savvy person in the world.
Hmm. Oh, Don, I couldn't. I was working earlier when you sent me the live. I'll have to catch the playback. Sorry.
Yeah,
Um, Don
lately
is
a
so
lot of
funny.
people like. Look, last night, just to give you an idea, around the same time, you had Don, you had Miss Ali, I think, and you also had Miss Mo, and then I'm gonna be on at the same time. So it's like, I mean, what's gonna happen is a lot of people are gonna watch your content on the playback, and I think, you know what? It
Yeah.
is what it is.
Hmm. As long as they watch. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah. The
Exactly.
show must go on, even if nobody's in the
Uh-huh.
chat, right?
Yep. Well,
It was a time when I went
uh,
live and there was nobody in the chat when they called themselves trying to cancel me. But my playback gang always came through regardless.
look, they fear you. Let's keep it real. They fear
Well,
you.
they
They
don't need
do.
to because I really don't want to fight with anybody. I'm an OG at this point. I don't have any interest in fighting people. I have an interest in making content. And if you have something interesting going on, then yeah, I might cover it. I might not. But yeah, I'm not fighting with nobody on YouTube no more.
Okay. Wow. 2 or 3 live streams in one day. I mean,
Irby is
you
everywhere.
know,
I see him
I,
everywhere. Irby, are you gonna get a job or what? Like
Yeah.
literally on YouTube all day?
Well, if you look, if you're going to be on YouTube all day, you might as well
You
be
might
a
as well get
content
paid.
creator and create content.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Make a channel. Like that don't make no sense. Make a
Yeah, but if
channel.
you have to
Get
depend on,
monetized. Get that
yeah, but
money.
yeah, yeah, but it's going to be kind of hard if you have to depend on that Obama phone.
Oh my gosh, you're never gonna let Irby uh live about that damn phone. Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna stop to wrap this up because I mean, look, believe it or not, it's a challenge for me to get come on at 10:30 because
Irby said he's gonna think about
I
it.
mean,
You should, Irby. We'll support you. You
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
But we told you
Well,
that.
I mean, look, I mean, you know
Irby
what?
said,
It's
shaking
one
my head,
thing when
Jose.
you, I mean, it's one thing when you go live. It's one thing when you go live at 9 o'clock. It's another thing that you go live at 10:30. And I didn't realize how much, it's just that I'm trying to create more of an audience by coming on late. I'm going to be on vacation in 3 weeks, so I'm going to be able to go later and actually wake up late without having to worry about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Um,
I
but
wanted to add too that Irby actually could do it, Jose, because of all the people that he supports, people that have, some sort of a name on YouTube. Like I'm pretty sure they would support him back because he is he's a great, awesome supporter. So I feel like if he made a channel, everybody would show up for him. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely, definitely. Of
Hmm.
course, you will have to deal with the haters. So I mean, but then again, he's dealing with the haters right now.
He deals with him as a sub.
Sitting,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, and and this is the thing. When you are constantly talking about the same people and talking about the same beeps been going on for 3 years, there's a mental there's a mental issue somewhere.
Yeah. I agree. But hey, we've
But
already established that it's, some mental health issues. But I'm gonna get down, Jose. I am exhausted. But it's good to talk to you. I haven't,
yeah,
I can't come up as much because you already know how it goes when it's summertime. The
believe
schedule's
me,
different.
I believe me, I know the drill.
But I always support you.
Um,
You know that.
I know it's the same here. And of
Hmm.
course I'm gone back to like putting your link in my description. It's the same thing with Dreamy. Because look, let's
Oh,
face it,
thank you, Jose.
I mean, come on. We're not exactly, big fish. We're a bunch of minnows here. But one of the things that some of these losers do not understand is the concept of community and the concept of helping each other out.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, I appreciate, and even just like this, just hitting the link coming up, chatting, even if you can't do that, being in the chat or whatever. And if you can't do that, you know, hit that playback, hit that like. All y'all leave him a like and a comment. And thank you for letting
Yeah.
me up, Jose.
Well, have a good night and stay safe.
You too. You got to drop me down because I don't know how to drop myself down off of this.
Okay, all right. So I'll do that. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Bye bye. Bye everybody.
Bye. So I'm going to wrap this up. It was a very good topic, okay, and I didn't think it would end up this way. But the whole point is this: yes, hell does exist, um, and that there is a way that you can avoid going there, basically through Jesus Christ and just trying to live a life that's pleasing in His sight with the grace of God and the Holy Spirit. So the next time I'm going to be live, it's going to be on my other channel. And actually, what I'm going to be talking about, there's a term that we use when we address our elders in the Latino community. which is bendición, which translated blessing. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing that on Thursday, um, the meaning behind the term and how and why we do that. And even today, with my nephews and nieces, they'll address me as bendición tío or whatever. And I'll say, I'll respond, que Dios te bendiga, may God bless you. I don't expect all my nephews and nieces to address me this way, as long as they address me, you know, in a form of, in respectful manner. That's all I care about. And a huge shout out to all the people in the chat, and a huge shout out to those who will catch it on the playback, and to your comments and what have you. Just keep the comments respectable. And of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, stay blessed, and peace.